All right, next, I have the honor of interviewing a woman familiar to so many in the Bay Area and beyond, Chef Tanya Holland. When we were planning Jubilee Wine Country, I said to the team, we cannot do this event without the woman who wrote the cookbook, California Soul, which she will be signing later, by the way. Tanya founded Oakland's beloved Brown Sugar Kitchen. She is a culinary diplomat, an author, a food TV trailblazer, and she is a good friend of Cherry Bombs. Please welcome Tanya Holland to the stage. Tanya, do you have a favorite side? I didn't ask you.
Well, I don't know, but I'm just like,
You know, you spoke at either the first or second Jubilee and you did a really fun selfie from the stage. Do you remember that? Do you want to try it again?
yeah.
Okay, everybody. Lean in, everybody. Oh.
Okay. But I don't want to block.
All right.
It's great to be back. We have a fun concept.
Yeah, I'm going to find that photo.
Thank you.
A really good photo. Okay, we're going to get right into it because I'm so excited to talk to you.
Me too.
Thank you for agreeing to do this.
This is my happy place, Napa. It really is. Yeah, I love it up here.
It's becoming my happy place very rapidly. Okay, let's jump right into it. Your book, California Soul, which just turned 2 yesterday.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Day.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
California Soul represented a kind of turning point in your life, a brand new chapter, and a true embrace of yourself as a Californian. Tell us, what is California Soul?
Well, I tell people, I mean, it is, California really influenced my cooking. I came out here in 2001 and just, being exposed to the sensibility of sustainability, local, organic, knowing your purveyors, it was just amazing to me. And then, my cuisine has been soul food that I've been focusing on. So just combining those two. But I'm also a California soul. So it's my soul, when I came out here, I was like, this is where I belong. Because I had moved around the East Coast, New York, Boston, Martha's Vineyard, went to school in Virginia, trained in France. I've been a lot of places. And this is the longest I've lived anywhere outside of where I grew up in Rochester, New York. And yeah, still love it.
Wow. As you've mentioned, you've really seen the world. You've lived in Boston, Brooklyn, Burgundy, France, all the B's, the Bay Area. Why did you fall in love with California enough to stay here? And when did you know you wanted to put down roots?
Wow. It was kind of goes back to that. Also, it was a food capital I hadn't worked in. And then historically, I knew of women in food and hospitality, not so much wine when I came out here, but now I do. Did better out here. On the East Coast, I wasn't finding those kind of opportunities when I was coming up, as a line cook. Even when I worked front of the house, it just was limited. And I just like the openness. There's something about this is still the final frontier, and there's an openness. It's not perfect, as Amelia said. Especially in the wine industry, there's a lot of, work to be done. But I felt like as an entrepreneur, and a restaurateur, people were open to my ideas. Whereas back east, at least when I was there, I think things have changed. It was shut down immediately.
Oh, that's so interesting. You opened your first restaurant, Brown Sugar Kitchen, in Oakland in 2008. Why did you want to be a restaurant chef and owner?
I really wanted to be a restaurateur. I went to cooking school. I had been in the front of the house for 7 years before I went to cooking school. And I wanted to know every aspect of the business. I didn't really go to become a chef. But I was a good cook. I learned to cook, from a young age too. My parents had this gourmet cooking club. But I just love restaurants as a place to gather people, and then all the interdisciplinary, work that you have to do. You have to think of lighting and florals and, service and wine and food and all that. And I just had this vision. I wanted to create a space where people could come in and they could see people who look like them working in the front, working in the back, and the guests, and have that diversity. I just hadn't found that, especially in my cuisine genre. And I just really wanted to create that space. So that was the only way to do it. I was scared, and I didn't have, I didn't get mentored So I didn't really have a lot of experience, and I learned by doing and made a lot of mistakes. But ultimately, I guess it worked.
I had no idea the goal was more restaurateur than chef.
Yeah, yeah, and like one of my like people that I idolized was Maggie LaCose. Like I'm like I want to dress like her and look like her in the
Bernadette.
room. Yeah, and be that person. I never thought I would be in the kitchen as long as I was.
How interesting, because we know you so well as a chef today. Okay. You made the decision to close Brown Sugar Kitchen a few years ago and focus on TV, writing, consulting, and other projects. We do have some water at your foot if you want a little water. When I had restaurants, I found it traumatic closing them. For some of us, it's not easy to officially end one chapter and move on to the next. I'd love to know how it was for you and what advice you have for those of us facing hard decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really make the decision. The decision was made for me by my investors and COVID and everything. I kind of went kicking and screaming, not because like it was getting really painful for many reasons. And one of the most that I've had this past 2 years to really do a lot of inner work and self-discovery is like I just felt claustrophobic. I feel claustrophobic in a professional kitchen because I'm more like I have to touch people, but I'm also an empath. And like when you're in that environment, like, I mean, I had staff, vendors, investors, guests, like everybody poking me. I'm the nexus. And it was really draining. So it's been nice not having it. And, change is inevitable. Like, I mean, one of the things I always say is like, nothing lasts forever. Like we think that, when you get this opportunity, it's like, going to keep going like this, but that's life. It's just a flow. And so when you have these kind of big changes, because that was significant, for me for the past 15, 20 years, known as a restaurateur and a chef owner.
You even had Tanya Holland Day in Oakland.
I know. And, one day I was walking around, I swear, like, it's like one of those old cartoons. People, they don't really see me. They see like a drumstick and they're like, you got any fried chicken with you? Actually, my second dinner at the French Laundry, I think Major D greeted me and said, do you have any fried chicken with you? I was like, come on. And I never thought I'd be known for fried chicken. Anyways, I'm going off on a tangent, but I am very happy with this new chapter. It feel more like myself.
That's great. My next question kind of answered it. What does it mean to you to be a chef today? Is that term too limiting for who you are?
It's definitely limiting to me. When people call me chef, I'm like, who are they talking to? Unless I'm in the kitchen grinding it out, which I don't really want to do anymore, even though I've done it and I will do it, this year, and I will continue doing some cooking. But I just always wanted to do more, and I am doing more. I've always done it along the way, but it hasn't been highlighted as much. And I just feel like, I just want to be expansive and make an impact. And, when you're in a restaurant, you get to impact maybe, depending on your number of employees, 15 to 40 people or whatever. But I've always wanted to make a world impact. I actually have a diary entry from like, I was probably like 13 or something. Like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but whatever it is, I want to change the world or just be famous. I literally, I couldn't make it up if I tried. And then the end, it says, I really wish Billy D. Williams was younger. I was like obsessed with like Star Wars and mahogany and.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny.
I'll show it to you later.
I had a really good follow-up question that I just went out of my brain. But no, that's okay. I want to go back, though. I want to slip this question in. You said you've spent the past 2 years doing the inner work. I think some of us would love to know what that means.
Sure, I love to share. I mean, that's another reason why I love California. I love all the woo-woo, all my practitioners, all my, my sisters. A couple of years ago, a friend, she was my fashion stylist on my own show, Oprah Winfrey Network. And we became friends. She's like, oh, I'm doing this product of teas and chocolates that's psilocybin, get a microdose. So I was like, oh, I'll try that. And then she started telling me about these journeys that she does. And it's like synthetic ayahuasca, DMT. And so she guides you. She's there. She's got sound bowls and tuning forks, and she's chanting. And it was game changing. And she was like, I feel like you just did some generational healing. And I was like, yeah. And it just gave me so much clarity. Like I had this interaction with this very misogynistic man, obviously. And he was talking about new business opportunity. And I just saw so clearly through him in this way. And I just like stood my ground. And it just made me confident. And so then I wanted to revisit it again this year. And she's like, well, I want to add on, I've been doing this intuitive massage before that with MDMA. I've never done any kind of drugs like that. I was like, what? This is fun. And she's like, it's going to really open you up. And then we're going to go do the DMT afterwards. I'm like, drug day. Okay. And it's just like, I finally feel like I'm seeing myself the way others have seen me. Like I never have really acknowledged my own gifts. And I really want to, encourage, if anybody wants information, I will totally share it. It just has been really healing for me, especially working in those environments where as a woman, as a Black woman, you get vilified, you get misunderstood, and I just realized, I'm told that I'm intimidating, scary, and it's like, this is who I am, and I'm not going to shrink myself to make other people comfortable. So it's been great. That's mostly what I've been done. That and biohormone replacement therapy. Started 6 months ago, and another game changer.
I hope you're all writing this down. All right, back to that expansiveness, though. Yeah, being expansive. Okay, one of the fascinating roles you've taken on recently is culinary diplomat. That's a real title, with the United States Foreign Service Department. You've done tours of Kazakhstan and Mexico. You've cooked for the Prime Minister of Thailand. Is that correct? It's amazing. What is this all about?
Oh my God, I love it so much. So when I was in college, I started with French, 4 years in high school, continued it. And after school one day in high school, teacher said, who wants to learn Russian? So I'm like, well, my name is based on a Russian name, so of course I do. And I ended up majoring in Russian language and literature. And I thought I wanted to be an ambassador because I heard, I learned about it. And then I learned you had to take this foreign service exam. It seemed very daunting. And they said, or, another way to become an ambassador if a president and they appoint you. And I was like, I'll go that route. I'm sure one of my friends is going to be president one day. I'm pretty certain of it. So when I heard about this program, because they started when Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State, but it was funny, that group was very male dominant. And, I didn't know how they got selected. And then, so in 2015, I got this random email letter from the State Department saying it's been requested that you come to Kazakhstan as a culinary diplomat.
Did you think it was fake?
Yeah, I shared it with one of my good friends. She's like, that's like send money to Nigeria. That's not real. And it turns out it was real because it was the 150th anniversary of the emancipation of slaves. The Foreign Service officer wanted to honor that and teach the Kazakhs about soul food. And he was from Kentucky, and he just he was missing soul food. And then he wanted someone media trained, African-American chef media trained. And he scrolled down and saw that I studied Russian. He was like, what? So I was like, yeah, the degree is finally paying off. And it was just, it was phenomenal. Just going over there, teaching. But I also got to learn how to cook some dishes. Everybody's like, did you eat bish parmark? Did you eat bish parmark? And I'm like, yeah, I did. That's their horsefoot noodles. I had to try it, but I'm like, I'm good. And then they, for the media, I did this one television show, and the host had a translator in his ear, and then I had one, English. He spoke Kazakh, but they're mostly trilingual over there, English, Kazakh, and Russian. And I heard this and Oprah, and I'm like, and my contact's like, they just said you're best friends with Oprah. I'm like, in Kazakhstan I am, but I had been in the magazine, and so yeah, it was incredible. And then Mary Sue Milliken couldn't do something in Mexico, and she recommended me for Mexico, and that was great. We went to schools and I taught, and then I cooked for the Prime Minister. And then 2 weeks ago they reached out and they're sending me to Uganda in February. Oh. Yeah. I know. I'm very excited. Yes.
You know where my brain is going. That would make a really good story.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just so you know, я говорю по-русски, это был мой главный предмет в университете. So I do speak a little Russian.
What did you just tell us?
Said I speak Russian.
Oh.
It was my major in college.
Got it. Okay. Would you be interested in being the White House chef?
Well, funny that you should ask. No, because I mean, it's a very institutional job, and Chris just, she's retiring, and actually,
Krista Comerford.
yeah, just like Jen, I have I want to, with the new administration, get in there and be impactful. There's a lot of work I want to do. So I've been putting that in my intentions. I also start working with a business coach this year who's very, she has a psychology background, and the way she works is just brilliant, and that's helped me a lot too. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be senior advisor on food policy to the White House. So like a week ago, 10 days, I got an invitation to the White House, but it's Dr. Biden and Chris are hosting a culinary diplomacy event. So I'm getting in there. I'm going to find out who their buyer is. I'm going to find out who their buyer is, and, we're going to get in there.
You got to slip some Seha wine into there, too.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yes.
Well,
You're gonna
sparkling.
welcome you back.
All right, let's talk about wine country.
Yeah.
You have a deep affinity for this part of the state. What was your introduction to this region, and why do you love it so much?
I think the first time I came was teaching at Ramekins Cooking School off the square in Sonoma. And yeah, I was just like, oh, this place is great. I'm trying to think of the first visit that I had in Napa, but I just haven't stopped coming. It's just, I just love like the nature, like seeing the vines. I love wine, obviously. And just like the community is so passionate because it is their passion project. And just the open space, but also it's an international destination place. And so you never know who's going to be here. And I've met some really interesting people, and I just feel like I belong here. I've been actually talking to landlords and developers up here for about 10 years trying to open a place, and it hasn't happened because, well, we know it's a little bit of a boys club up here, but I'm still working on it. Okay. Yeah, and some other things.
Did you tell me that years ago you thought about moving here, but you were dissuaded from moving here?
I did. When I kind of wanted to move here in early 2000s, and Michael Bauer, the long-term restaurant critic, was like, you can't move to Napa, Tanya. And I remember him saying because there was no black people. He says it was because I was single. And I was like, well, probably both would have been bad. But anyways, I didn't move. Yeah, probably he was right. He was right. It was Charlie. Yeah.
Do you think you'll ever do a wine project?
I've been wanting to do a wine project forever, and now I am working on one. So I will. I wasn't sure I was going to talk about it, but when you talk about what you're doing and what your dreams are and your goals, you never know who's going to come up and like support you in that. So, I just happened to say it to Jen. She's like, "Oh, we have this consortium of canned wine producers. I'm doing a canned wine." I was like, "See, that's why you got to share. Don't hold it back." Yeah. So, launch in the spring.
Okay. Yeah.
Fun. Thank you. I can't wait to share like the brand with you. I'm so excited. The story is so cool. I just don't want to do that just yet, but it's going to be exciting.
Keep it under wraps for
we'll come for the
cherry bomb story. Yeah. Okay. All right. You mentioned yes. You mentioned a lot of things that are coming up for you. Anything else that's next for you?
Yeah, I just got a fellowship at HBCU, Historical Black College and University in New Orleans, called Dillard. And my friend who went to Tulane Law introduced me to the chair of the Ray Charles Department of African American Materials and Culture. So he left a big endowment, and she just got a grant from the Mellon Foundation to bring fellows. And they have a minors in food studies, and I'm going to help them take it to a major. So just help develop the curriculum, but also I'm going to be doing a TikTok series, which I'm scared. Like I downloaded TikTok, but I've never used it or looked at it. But she wants me to do a TikTok series with the students around food insecurity on campus, which I'm excited to do because it needs to be talked about. And then also working with them on starting sustainability practices down there. Because again, I mean, when we leave the Bay, we see a lot less sustainability practices, or New York, major metropolitan areas. So yeah, I'm really excited for that. Hey, Professor Tanya, to you.
Ooh, Professor Tanya. Okay. This is very exciting. You have a lot of very cool projects coming up, and I'm so happy for you. Okay, I think this is my last question. Oh my God, we flew through that. That's what happens when you, I mean, you know, I'm a big fan of yours.
You've been so generous to me over the years, and I just love how this brand has grown and how you bring people together. I mean, I wanted to come like join Amelia and Miriam on stage. God, that's so awesome. And Ario, like everybody, like it's just so, it's invigorating. So thank you.
I know, it's so funny. You all would have made an amazing panel. But we'll save that for next time. Okay. I would love to know, what is a motto or mantra that gets you through the day?
Several. Well, so I got in 2020 my first tattoos and my last ones because I did not like the process, but grace and ease on my forearms, just to remind myself, like, you know, just to give myself grace, and, you know, things have to be easy. Nothing has to be hard. I would say that those are probably, yeah.
Simple but powerful, grace and ease.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, those are two things I think of when I think of you.
Oh,
So makes sense that you have those tattooed on your arms for your first and last tattoos. Everybody, that is it. We're practically on time, which is amazing. So Tanya, stay up here with me while I do the last of the housekeeping. All right, everybody, thank you so much. What an amazing group of speakers. Amelia, everyone, Jen, Ara, Miriam. So incredible. I wish I was sitting in the back with a notebook or my notes app, because there was a lot of wisdom. I'm very happy that we recorded this and I can listen to all of it later. Okay, Tanya, you have been such an inspiration. So thank you so much. And please don't forget, Tanya is signing copies of California Soul today at 3:30 with our bookstore partners. Wild Plum, you may have seen them right outside.
Copies of Brown Shirt Kitchen.
Oh,
Which
fantastic.
has been in print for 10 years, which is really rare. And there's like only 2,000 copies left, and they're going to take it out of print. So get it while you can.
Your first book, baby. Absolutely. And a lot of you know Wild Plum because they are a local bookstore here in Wine Country. Okay, I hope you're inspired and hungry, because it is time for lunch. We have a beautiful lunch for you right across the way, presented by California Grown and California Walnuts. I will see you back here promptly at 2 p.m. for session 2. Did everybody sign up for their activities if you're doing the afternoon activities? If you did not, check in with the folks at the front desk. But thank you, everyone. This has been amazing. We'll see you at 2 o'clock.
Thank you. Thank you.